Traditionally, when a private company wants to exit to the public markets, start trading on the stock exchange, the company goes through an initial public offering, an IPO. But it's expensive, takes time, and there's uncertainty with the price. Well, there's another way for companies to go public, and that's by selling to a special purpose acquisition company, a SPAC. In this video, we're going to talk about special purpose acquisition companies, also known as SPACs. We will specifically talk about SPACs' role in private equity. We'll talk about what SPACs are, SPACs as a private equity exit option, and SPACs as an acquisition vehicle. And we'll end the video with a final thought. So let's get started with what SPACs are. So what is a special purpose acquisition company or a SPAC? A SPAC is a shell company that raises capital through an IPO with the intention of buying another company. When SPACs initially go through the IPO process, they have no commercial operations. They are really just empty companies, shell companies that are made public to acquire a private company and bring that private company public. This is why SPACs are sometimes referred to as blank check companies. Now, when SPACs acquire the private company, this acquisition is sometimes referred to as an initial business combination or a qualifying acquisition. SPACs don't have to buy another company right away. They have a certain amount of time, typically 24 months, to make the acquisition from the date of the completion of the IPO. Now, let's look at SPACs as a private equity exit option. Because there have been so many more SPACs raised, private companies have more and more options to sell to SPACs if they want to go public. And this applies to all types of private companies. You may remember in 2019 when Virgin Galactic, Richard Branson's space company, went public through a SPAC. Now, Virgin Orbit, a spin-off of Branson's Virgin Galactic, recently went public through a SPAC as well, just a few months before this video was released. SPACs provide a vehicle for private companies to raise money through the public markets without going through the IPO process. Now let's look at SPACs as an acquisition vehicle. Many investors have been raising SPACs to purchase or technically combine with private companies. These investors have various backgrounds, which usually help determine the type of private company that the SPAC will bring public. For example, Jack Tretton, who helped make the video game console PlayStation popular, he's the former president and CEO of Sony Computer Entertainment America, recently was involved in raising a $225 million SPAC that is looking to acquire a company in the interactive media space that focuses on, you guessed it, video games. There are all types of investors that have been involved in SPACs over the past few years, from private equity group Apollo, to the ex-president of the United States, Donald Trump, to the big Aristotle, Shaquille O'Neal. It's always interesting following the headlines to see who's been involved in the latest SPAC. Now here's a final thought. SPACs and IPOs are not the only way for a private company to go public. There is also the option of a direct listing. This has also become popular, and some very well-known companies have recently gone public through a direct listing. Most of you may know Spotify, that went public through a direct listing back in 2018, and Slack, that went public through a direct listing in 2019. And some of my students at the University of Waterloo will definitely know Warby Parker, that went public through a direct listing in 2021, since these students had to value Warby Parker as part of their final project. So investors, if you own a private company and want to bring that private company public, well, you have more options than just going through the initial public offering, the IPO process. In this video, we talked about SPAC's role in private equity. We talked about what SPACs are, SPACs as a private equity exit option, and SPACs as an acquisition vehicle. Can you think of any interesting SPACs that have been raised recently? If so, please share them in the comments below.